All right, so you just read about the continue and break statements. So continue is um, an expression or a statement we can use if we want to skip a certain iteration of the for loop and move on to the next iteration. And break can be used to just jump all the way out. It basically ends the for loop where it's at. Right, so we want to go ahead, we want to use either the continue or the break statement. And we want to modify this for loop we have down here so that we only import month 01 through month 07, and then also month 08 through month 10. All right, so there's a few different ways we can do that. First of all, let's look at just what this statement is actually doing, right? And if we go ahead and run this, if you recall, from the last knowledge check, we are creating a dictionary where we have the month as the key, and then we import the data frame. And if I were to just not import the data frame, but just use the file path, we can see a little bit more clearly what's going on, right? So here's our dictionary. We have our key value here, and then in this case, our value is the path to that file name. So what we want to do is we want to do the same process, except for this first step, we only want to get those files where it's month 01 up to and including month 07, but not include any of the other ones. So how can we do that? Well, let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to say I've got certain months of interest that I care about. And for this first step, what I want it to be is basically the month values of 1 through and including 7. Right? So what I can do is range from 1 up to, but not including 8. So that'll get us up through 7. Right? So if you recall what this is doing, I can just go ahead and wrap this with list down here, months of interest, and I'm just creating an object that has the values 1 through 7. All right, so I have that. Now I want to modify this for loop, and what I'm going to do is right here, I'm going to go ahead and what this is going to do is it creates my file path or my file name. Recall that's the month 01 or month 02. But what I want to do is I want to add an if statement here. So if file name, and what I want to include here, I'm going to do this statement right here, right? So what is this doing right here, right? Well, let's just say file name equals month 01. Then what this would do right here is strip off the last two elements in there, which is going to be the number, right? Whether it's 01, 10, so on. And what I could actually do is say int, and that's going to force it to an integer, right? So what I can say here is if the last two numbers in that file name is in the months of interest, I want to do something. And actually what I want to do is I want to skip any iterations if this file number is not in the months of interest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually say not in, right? And I'm going to use the continue statement. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. And let's see what happens, right? So now we see we get all those file paths that are from 01 up to including 07, right? So what we're doing is we're saying, hey, here are the months I care about. Now, as I iterate for each file in those files, what I want to do is get the file name, and then I want to look at the last two digits in there. And if that is not in the months of interest, I'm going to go ahead and skip that iteration. So it skips the 08, it'll skip the 10, 11, and so on. All right, and if I wanted to accomplish this second part of this knowledge check where it says only import month 08 through month 10, right? I could just change this to be 8, and then I want to go up to, but not include, the number 11. If I rerun this, now I get those files 8, 9, and 10, right? But not 11, and not the months that are less than 8.